Welcome to H2K Infosys. H2K Infosys is a e-verify business based in Atlanta, Georgia, United States. We provide 100% job-oriented, instructor-led, face-to-face, true live online software training programs. It also includes access to cloud test lab with software tools. We provide live project for you to work on. We also provide assistance with mock interviews, resume preparation and review, and job placement assistance. H2K Infosys is trusted by so many students across the world. H2K Infosys provides world-class services in IT training with real-time project work for corporates and individuals, special IT training for MS students in the United States, software design, development, QA manual and automation, performance testing and maintenance, IT staff augmentation, job placement assistance, and tech support.
So currently, when we have entered the username and password, we'll query by username. So let us say we have entered the username as Steve. So when we have entered the username as Steve, we'll get all this information. So in our Java code, we'll get all this information with a result set. But to send the data back to the front end or the JSP page, we want the information to be stored within a definite object. And the object for that data storage is nothing but your Java bean. So currently, employee model is your Java bean, which consists of certain fields, certain properties like salary, designation, first name, last name, and for each property, you'll be going to provide the setters and getter methods. So once you have retrieved the information, you'll create an employee model object, and you'll set the information, and you'll send it back to the login processor, and the same will be forwarded back to the servlet, and in turn, it will be set in some scope, just like your request or session scope, and it will be forwarded back to your JSP page. So now, with your JSP page has the access to employee model, you can just use scriptlet code, and you can iterate, you can retrieve each and every parameter and display onto the front end. That's what my whole intention with respect to the assignment. Are you guys able to understand the flow? Okay. I'll show the output first, and we'll verify each and every Java file. Login page. So enter the details, Steve, password as Steve. Submit. Login servlet. I guess I have some issue. This was login. Run it again. Actually, this code was prepared at my office laptop, so I just need to make some modifications to the database schema. Just give me a second, please. I will add the primary key foreign key relationship later. Forwarding to update page. Details display.jsp. Just give me a second, please. Okay. Yeah, it's because of data issue. I didn't execute the second SQL which I have sent to you guys in my local system. So now you can see that I'm able to fetch all the details corresponding to Steve, the details from employee table. So for Steve, the details from employee table are designation, salary. You can see that designation and salary got displayed, and the corresponding address ID is 1. Select start from address where address ID equal to 1. You can see that Atlanta, Georgia, and 30327. That information got displayed onto the second tab. So here, the entire strategy that I have followed is, the first thing is we need to write one JSP page. This is the older one, which we have seen already. And the next one is Servlet. Servlet will read the username and password. And once after that, the username and password will be passed to login processor. So that means I'll create an object for login processor, and I'll call a method on login processor, which will in turn calls the employee DAO get employee details method. But here the employee DAO needs an access to the database. So that means I need to load the driver class into the memory, and that too, it was supposed to be done only for the first time. So that means what kind of a strategy I'm supposed to use? Can anyone tell me? I'm supposed to load the driver only once into the memory, and once the application server has started, any number of client requests can come in to hit my resource, but I need to load the driver only once. Not the filter Ghanshyam, it's a listener. Do you guys remember now? Last time we have seen about Servlet context listener, which can be used to load all the context parameters, and the context initialize method will be called by our Servlet container during the initialization or during the deployment of our application. So during the start of your application, let us say I'm stopping my application, and currently you can see that I have put all my initialization parameters, like what is the JDBC URL, driver class, JDBC username, password. I have put all those 4 parameters within my web.xml file, and those 4 are context parameters. Those are not related to any servlet. That's the reason I have placed them as context parameters. These are constants. I don't want to declare the constants in my normal Java file. So our Servlet context listener has a argument called Servlet context event, which will provide you the Servlet context. Now I got all the 4 parameters. Once after that, I have loaded the driver into the memory. After that, I have created one class, one Java class, JDBC connection. This JDBC connection class holds 3 static parameters. Why I'm taking them as static? The reason for that is the value won't be changed once they have assigned, and the values are same across the client requests. I need to create a connection object for each and every client request, but the parameters URL, username, and password, they won't be going to change for each and every client. So that's the reason I have declared them as static parameters, and I have provided setters and getters for them. And once I have received those data by using our context listener for the first time, I'm setting those parameters. So that means at the class level, those are static parameters. So whenever I have called by using JDBC connection dot URL or password or username, I'll be going to get the same data. That's the reason I have set using my context listener. Go back to JDBC connection one more time. Once you have set all the parameters, the next step you are supposed to do is getting a connection. So I have provided one more static method, which is getCon, which will return a connection object. This will create, whenever a client called the getCon method, no need to create any object for JDBC connection. The reason for that is all are static members only. So when I call getCon method, this will create a connection object by using all the 3 static parameters, and it will return a connection object to the caller. That's what our intention for each and every client request. So this context listener will be called only once, and it has set all the 3 parameters. So that means we are done with our first level approach. The next thing is retrieve the information from the JSP. The JSP is just like the normal one which we have discussed last time, which will consist of two attributes, username and password, and submitted to the login servlet. Go back to login servlet. So here with login servlet, I am retrieving those two parameters, username and password, and after that I am storing those two parameters with a temporary variable, and I am creating an object for our login processor, this one, and login processor consists of a method called getUserDetails. This getUserDetails takes two parameters, username and password, whatever that we have passed from the GUI. GUI nothing but graphical user interface, which is nothing but our JSP page. And the return value from getUserDetails is employee itself. So once it has queried the database and the database was able to retrieve whole information, it will provide you the whole employee object. If at all, if it was not available, it will return you a null reference, which will provide you, which will inform you that the username and password entered are not proper. Go back to your getUserDetails. In my login processor, I have only one method. The login processor is just like a pass-on class, which will take the request from Servlet, and pass it on to your JDBC code. So here, username and password you have taken, and you have created one more object, which is JDBC util, nothing but your DAO class. To your DAO class, you are just passing only username, because no need to perform any validation at DAO level. So the getEmployeeDetails will take the username. In getEmployeeDetails, you are going to perform your database operation. This is just like whatever that we have done within our regular JDBC code. But one thing to remember is how to retrieve the connection. You are not going to create a connection within DAO at any point of time. You will take the connection by using your JDBC connection. So whenever you have called the getCon method, the getCon method will create a connection object and provide it back to you. Go back to your JDBC util. Once you got the connection object, you can create the statement, you can execute the SQL, and you can retrieve the result. You can see that this result has been retrieved. Once after that, I am creating an employee object. Employee object nothing but your Pojo. Go back to employee. Employee consists of all your database columns. Employee ID, first name, last name, designation, password, username, and salary. Forget about ADS ID. And for all of them, we have provided setters and getters. And with the primary key and foreign key relationship, which is pointing to address ID. So here address ID is foreign key of address table. So to represent that in Java, you will just refer based on your referred class itself, because you can't specify or you can't associate a single attribute and refer to the whole element. In database, it is possible. You can just specify a column name like address ID, and this will refer to the whole object or whole data of address table. But in Java, you will specify the entire object itself, and this address object you will create based on this information. So the address object will consist of all the information related to your address ID 1. Go back to your JDBC util. So here you can see that I am retrieving all the information and I am setting with my employee object. And finally, I am retrieving the address ID as well. Address ID nothing but this will provide you the ADS ID from this one. Once you got the ADS ID, you will query address details table once again, because you are supposed to get the address details from address table only. Go and call address details now. Again, the same procedure. Create an address object, set all the information, and finally return the address object. So whatever the address object that you have received, you will just set within your employee reference, because you are supposed to specify that which employee consists of what address. So finally, you have employee and address available within your employee class itself. Now you are returning the employee back to the caller, which will return back to your processor, and your processor, it will check whether the employee is null or not. If it is null, it will return a null value. If it is not null, is address a separate class? Yes. You will retrieve the password from your employee and verify the password whatever that you have passed from your GUI representation. If at all, if the password has matched, it will return a success response, or else it will return a null response only. Because if at all, if the employee was not available or the password was not matched, we are going to say only one response, which is employee username and password not matched. So finally, you are returning back to your servlet, and within your servlet, you are verifying whether the employee is null or not. If the employee is null, you are going to say that username and password not available, and you are going to forward it to the same page, which is your request page. If the employee was available, you are going to forward to details display page, and before that, you are setting your employee object, whatever that you have received within your session. So once you have set the value in session, you can retrieve that within your JSP page, which is nothing but your details display. With details display, you can see that I am able to retrieve the data by using scriptlet. I'm storing it in employee, and address also I'm storing in address, and I am using the scriptlet, the expression tag, and I am displaying the content to the front end. If the username and password not matched, it will respond back to the same login page, and it will specify to display, it will specify that the username and password was not matched, and display and enter the details again. I don't think I have written the code to display error message. Let me run it one more time. Steve, Chris. You can see that it has returned back to the same page. You can see the whole process here. Init method called for login servlet, doGet method called, session ID that got generated, request parameters Steve and password Chris, login processor called, setting address details, employee first name, Steve and manager. First row will return properly. Username and password not matched. This will be returned at your login processor level. And finally, it has responded with username and password not matched. But to display this error message, it requires some extra effort that we are going to discuss in today's class. Employee object was created. The reason for that is we are not validating at database level. That means not at our DAO level. We are verifying at our login processor level, and here we are deciding whether the username and password are matched or not.
Krish?
Yeah.
I just don't understand the purpose of DAO because at the login level, why can't you just...
That's what I have mentioned. We'll discuss about that later.
Okay.
As of now, just follow the approach. This is like one of the design patterns, but it would be good if you guys follow the same approach from the starting itself instead of changing at the later level. Are we guys good to go with the next topic? Request scope. Oh yeah, that's what I'll explain that one with today's class. In last class, we have seen about the directives for JSPs. We have discussed only one directive, which is page directive. So in today's class, we'll discuss about the rest of the directives. The first one is include directive, and the next one is tag lib directive. We have completed about page directive. I'm not sure whether you guys get a chance to verify the remaining attributes. Include directive. Generally, any page, let us open our H2K Infosys site itself. If you look any website, normally they'll follow one particular approach. Like on the top, it consists of some header information, and at the bottom, it consists of some footer information like all rights reserved or company information. You can see that here also 2011 H2K Infosys all rights reserved. When you click on any page, if you click on clients page, if you click on services page, or if you go inside to any other links, the top level header or the bottom level footer, they won't change. Only thing that will get changed is the body part. So only this part will get changed for any kind of page traversals. So you'll feel that you are in the same page, and only thing is moving at the body part. But normally, how we'll design this kind of approach is we'll define a static header page, and a footer page. When we are writing the code or when we are designing the JSP page, let me open Paint. So this is our JSP page. This will be divided into 3 parts. On the first one, they'll mention this as header part. The bottom one, they'll mention this as footer part. And if at all, if there is a menu, this will be defined as a menu part. And here the actual body part. And so that means for each and every page, when you go to services or courses or clients, you are supposed to display the same information at the top level and the bottom level. So for that purpose only, they have defined one tag, which is include tag. The include directive is used to include the content of another JSP page. That means it's not required for you to design the content for each and every page or write the code for each and every page. And you can write the code in a separate JSP page, and you can just include the content within your JSP page itself. You can include at any level, either top or bottom or left or right, at any other place based on your wish. You can just design the CSS so that it will display on the top or left based on your business scenarios. So currently, I have designed one header page. Header page consists of only one information. It will display H2K Infosys on the top. Let me execute this one. You can see that this is my header page. And also my footer page. My footer page, it will only display all rights reserved. Let me execute this one as well. You can see that it will only display all rights reserved. Now, with each and every page, with the login page or any other page, this is my body code, and on the top I am using include directive. Directive symbol is @ and I am using include directive, and the attribute that we are supposed to specify is the file attribute. With the file attribute, you will specify the included page. What are the contents that you want to include within this page? Currently, I want to include header.jsp within my JSP page. And also at the end, I want to include footer.jsp page. So now, whenever I have run this file, let me take this one and execute in the browser. Here you can see that on the top, H2K Infosys was there, and on the bottom, all rights reserved was there. Within the frame, a form was available which accepts 2 parameters. I'm entering the data, Steve on Steve. Now you can see that the same header and footer was still available, and the form display also, I have followed the CSS, and I am able to display the information in the same format. So this is my update details page. With my update details page also, I have specified the include tag, which specifies header.jsp and footer.jsp. So based on include tag, you can write the content only at one layer, at one JSP page, like header and footer, and you can just club the data within your JSP page by using include directive. That is the purpose of include directive. Taglib directive, this is used for custom tags. We are going to discuss about that in a minute. It requires some additional information. Come back to our update JSP page. Details display. This is what we have used to display the content. Details display to display the content onto the front end. Here, what are we doing? We are using scriptlet code, and also we are using expressions code within our attribute itself, attribute value. So within our value tag value of input text box, we are displaying the content based on our expressions. The first thing, whenever you are designing the page,
so many of our students have given testimonials on how our training programs are. You will find them on kudzu.com and on our website h2kinfosys.com. On our website h2kinfosys.com, you will also find more detailed information on who we are, the courses that we offer, what each course covers. Also, if you're interested in a demo program, please register on our homepage on the left-hand side. Just give us more information about yourself and we will send you a link for a demo class. The demo class is absolutely free. Experience our commitment by just attending an orientation workshop at no cost. Our team of faculty and advisors are here to guide you with the right information. If you still have more questions, please feel free to call us. Call us at 770-777-1269. This is a United States number. If you're calling from the UK, call us at 020-337-17615. You can also email us at training@h2kinfosys.com or h2kinfosys@gmail.com. Thank you for watching our videos. We wish you a great career in information technology.